Alright, so we got a really good one here. So Carlos Diego Ferreira versus Beneil Dariush. So Carlos coming off Carlos coming off a 13-month layoff. He is 36, so getting up there with a big layoff. But yeah, I was really impressed with him before the layoff. So I'd imagine he's kept most of his same qualities and maybe even improved on some, because he does seem to be pretty driven and yeah. And he's on a 6-fight win streak. Beneil Dariush on a 5-fight win streak himself. He's already got a win over Carlos. Yeah. So he pretty much dominated him everywhere, really. He beat him in the clinch, got him down, controlled him, beat him on the feet. But yeah, that was, I think it was 5 years ago, 6 years ago maybe. And yeah, Carlos looks like a different fighter right now. But yeah, we'll get into the striking of these two guys. So for Carlos Diego Ferreira, I'm really impressed with his stand-up, to be honest. Like, he used to not be that great, but now he'll throw a lot of jabs, jab volume, feint a lot, just to try to keep that forward pressure. That's kind of his thing. Keeps that forward pressure going, pumps out the 1-2s, pretty much sets up everything with the jab. He'll throw a double jab at times just to kind of perpetuate that forward pressure that he's got, and he will follow up the double jab with a 2 most of the time. That's what you can expect after the double jab. And yeah, when someone does try and push him on the back foot, he will brawl with them, just so he lets you know he's not going to take a backward step. But yeah, I'm really liking that kind of style, in MMA, where you're on the front foot, you're throwing a lot of volume, because judges just love that shit. It's pretty easy to score for the guy that's coming forward, throwing a lot of volume. Even if the guy on the back foot is landing better strikes or cleaner, it's hard to give him that round. So I like that kind of style for betting on fighters. But yeah, and Carlos Diego does that to a T. So for Beneil Dariush, he's got nice stand-up as well, but he's kind of the guy that I was talking about who's sometimes on the back foot landing really nice counters. And that's probably what he'll be doing in this fight, because he's a southpaw, so the body kick will be open for him. I think that will be one of his main weapons in this fight. When he is trying to avoid strikes, he will use upper body movement instead of like head movement or keeping his guard up. He keeps his hands low. That's sometimes how that's how he can get caught, as he has done a few times in his career. And yeah, he can be frustrated in the ring. Once he does get frustrated, he'll start to brawl. Like, he'll lose his game plan pretty much and just start brawling. But he does have that in him, and he has, one punch knockout power we saw in his last fight. Both these guys are really good grapplers as well. For Beneil Dariush, most of his takedowns do come from the clinch. Pretty much how he controlled Carlos last match. And yeah, so once he does have that body lock or the clinch control, he will look to turn the corner, take the back. If his opponent turtles up, he'll take the back, locks in that body triangle just to control them. And sometimes he'll just stay the body lock if the opponent lowers their base or lowers their level. He will keep the body lock, transition it into one underhook on the cage side, and then just lean into his opponent, just land a few ground and pound shots with the free hand, just kind of using his weight to keep the opponent down and their base lowered. So he'll get a few good shots off there. When he does get top control, he'll use shoulder pressure to kind of control where his opponent turns to, because, as they teach you in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the head goes, or the body goes where the head goes. So pretty much where the head is, the body's going to follow. So if, you turn their head to the right side, most likely they're going to try and get to their left hip. So yeah, just because the position of where their head is, they don't want to twist their neck or whatever. But yeah, so Carlos Diego Ferreira, he doesn't use his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or his grappling as much as I would if I was him. But yeah, he still has it in his back pocket. He's got nice judo trips in the clinch. Oh, sorry. No, he doesn't have. He can be caught by judo trips in the clinch, which is something a few people have caught him with. Even Beneil caught him with the judo hip toss, and then Tysonov caught him with that as well. So it's just someone to watch out for. He still can be off balance a little bit and can be manipulated in the clinch just by judo throws. So, Beneil will probably be looking for that again since he had success with that in his last fight. And yeah. So when Carlos gets on top, he'll look to isolate a limb, just to kind of distract them from one of his guard passes, or, if he's setting up a submission on the other arm. So he's just very tricky. He's very high level. I wouldn't be able to, I'm not giving it service by breaking it down. It's way too high level for me to break it down, if I'm being honest. Both these guys, way too high level for me to break it down. But in my opinion, Carlos Diego Ferreira has better Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Beneil has good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and it's probably more controlled than Carlos Diego Ferreira. But I think, in a straight grappling match, I'd probably have to give the advantage to Carlos. Carlos, he's pretty good at scrambling off his feet. He'll get butterfly hooks. He'll push off on the hips of his opponent. It's pretty hard to keep down. So how these guys win? For Beneil Dariush, he has good transitions on top. He's a legit BJJ black belt. Same with Carlos. And he's got good submission defense. He's got power in his left hand. He's got killer instinct. We've seen that in his his last few fights. He's been pretty much a bonus machine lately. And I like that he's more grappling heavy now. He wasn't using it as much before he got knocked out a few times by Edson Barboza and Alex Hernandez, but now he seems, on this win streak, he seems to have start using his grappling a little bit more, which is good because he does have really world class, jiu-jitsu and grappling as a whole. So for Carlos Diego Ferreira, he has, I really like his forward pressure that he brings. Opponents don't really love it. It's good for judges to look at and easily give the round to him. He is not afraid of the takedown, coming back at him, so he's not really, he doesn't really have to ease his foot off the gas pedal when he is coming forward. As I said before, good BJJ, legit BJJ black belt. Got pretty much dominated Pettis on the mat, who has, he's pretty good jiu-jitsu, pretty underrated jiu-jitsu for Pettis. For Carlos Diego Ferreira, he has great cardio as well, good volume. We've really seen that more evidently in his in this UFC run that he's in this win run that he's been on lately. And he has good scrambles, good recoverability. Lately, Tysonov caught him, recovered really quickly, and was just back on the gas pedal again. He's got good transitions on top, same as Beneil. He's floating on top, floating on the back, really nice. And he seems to improve every fight, in my opinion. So since that layoff, we'll see, but he seems to be improving every fight, even as he gets older. So I'm really impressed by Diego Ferreira. So how these guys lose? So for Carlos, his movement, pretty predictable, just comes forward pretty much, doesn't cut too many angles. So he can walk onto things. Also, he doesn't check leg kicks, just kind of walks through them. So Beneil's definitely going to be throwing that. And for Beneil, he can be quite hittable. He keeps his hands low. He's fairly flat-footed. He doesn't move his head off the center line, because mostly he's just looking for counters. So he is open to be hit. So fighters with good movement generally give him issues, such as Michael Johnson, Evan Dunham, Mark Chiesa. They seem to give him problems just because, he's very flat-footed and he's not the fastest guy in the world, but they just, seem to give him problems. So path to victory for these guys will stay with Beneil. So, as I said before, we like to see him hammer in those leg kicks, get respect early, keep range, get that jab, the hard two, yeah, you just want to get respect early on Carlos because he is just going to pressure you the whole fight if you don't. Also, look, just to clinch up, had so much success with it in the first fight, so might as well give it a shot, early in the fight. Just clinch up, try and, maybe take him to the ground with a few trips. Just trying to just see, clinch up, see how strong he is, and see if that's on offer in this one. Also, the body kick, talked about before. Also, if Carlos gets too aggressive, then, don't hesitate to go for a reactive double, take him down, put him on his ass. If nothing else, it helps you win the round if it's a close round. For Carlos, so probably the normal game plan, it's been working pretty well recently, like against similar fighters to Beneil. So just the normal game plan, just switch stance every now and then, just so you kind of take away the read for the body kick and the leg kicks. He was doing that quite frequently in the Pettis fight. So I'd like to see him do that again in this one. I don't know, probably just stay away from the clinch. On the feet, you can definitely just out-volume him. So, in my opinion, probably don't need to clinch or even do anything like that because it was a part where you did get exploited in the first fight. So I just think the pressure and the volume of Carlos Ferreira will get to Beneil. He'll eventually start, kind of swinging wildly, looking for big counters, and will just fall behind the volume. So I see Beneil just trying to get the clinch eventually. I just see Carlos, holding his own in the clinch, not getting taken down or even maybe taking down Beneil. Holding his own in the clinch and on the feet, just out-voluming him and just, taking the fight to him, and winning a judge's decision. So, on the mat, I just think it's whoever's on top. Like, whoever's in top position will probably, I'd favour. So, most likely that would be Beneil, just because the grappling game that he has and how he gets fights to the ground, whereas Carlos doesn't have the greatest takedowns. But if it does get the fight to the ground, I'd probably say it'd be with Beneil on top. But still, I'm backing Carlos. I think he gets it done by decision. Beneil's, hard dude to finish. I don't think he's going to get him out of there, but I think he does enough to win on the judges' scorecards. So we'll go to the betting line here. So it's coin flip at the moment, which is fair. I can see that. But in my opinion, I just think Beneil, he can tire with in a high-paced fight, and he can slow down. He will definitely fall behind on the volume in this one, and he does struggle with fighters with pretty decent movement. So I've got to go with Carlos, and I think he should be a little bit higher as well. I think he wins this fight at least 56, 57% of the time, which is good for about, $1.75 or something like that. But anything above 1.8, in my opinion, is pretty good. I reckon Carlos's value at anything above 1.8. I got him at $1.95. I'm expecting the line to go down for Carlos, to be honest. So we'll watch out for that. Should be a good fight. Really good fight.